I'm glad to be back, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm in a good financial space. It's taken me 10 long, hard years, but I'm finally done with paying my student loans, which is a big deal. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. 10 years, man. I mean, I still owe them a lot of money. I'm just done paying these people. Like, I'm just poor and I'm giving up. That's pretty much. Here's my payment plan. You can call me. I'm not answering the phone. That's how. New year, new me. When I'm not doing this, I like to volunteer, try to keep at-risk youth off the street. Tutoring and stuff like that. Here's the thing, I don't know if anyone in here has ever worked with kids before, but when you work with kids, you are always thinking one of two things. This is what they don't tell you. One of two things. You are either always thinking, I am willing to do any and everything in my power to keep this kid from hurt or harm, right? Or you're always thinking, it's gonna take everything in my power to keep me from hurting and harming this kid right now. This is different. Like the way kids are raised now is just way different than how I was raised, right? Like I got a friend, Jimmy, he has a 10-year-old son. Every Christmas, he tells me the same story. He's like, man, this elf on the shelf is driving me crazy. You guys know about the elf on the shelf? I had no clue what an elf on the shelf was. I go, what the heck is an elf on the shelf? He's like, oh, it's this toy elf we had to buy our son. We put it up in the house. We got to move it all over the place. Whenever my son sees it, it's supposed to freak him out, scare him, remind him that he better behave himself for Christmas. I was like, oh, I had that as a kid. Yeah, we called it a belt. That's what we had. Yeah, we called it belt on a shelf. Worked like a charm. Every holiday season. Works. I don't mind working with kids because they remind me of me when I was little, right? Like they remind me of me. Like when I was a kid, I was always a small kid. I was always a small, skinny kid, so I used to get picked on a lot, right? I used to get bullied a lot. I don't know if anybody else in here got bullied as a kid. Just you, the rest of y'all, bunch of varsity jackets in here tonight? That's cool. Nothing but thugs and killers at Gotham Comedy Club. That's cool. Just me and this guy. All right, that's cool. No, it's true. I used to get picked on all the time as a kid. It used to be hard for me to fit in with other kids in my neighborhood. Mostly because I'm biracial. I mean, both of my parents are black, but I listen to Coldplay a lot. It's my favorite group of all time, not gonna lie. I live in a pretty rough neighborhood. It can be a little dangerous, right? Beautiful people, beautiful culture, but pretty dangerous at times. But I don't think anybody will do anything to me because I look way younger than what I actually am. This is what I mean by that. I was coming home late one night. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, coming home from a show, and I saw 3 dudes on the corner, and I could hear 2 of them discussing whether or not they should rob me. I could hear them talking about this, right? But then I heard the third guy say to the other 2 guys, hey y'all, don't mess with him. Can't you see that's just a little kid? I heard him say that about me. I'm not gonna lie, that made me more upset than the 2 dudes discussing whether or not they should rob me. And then the third guy turned to me and he was like, hey kid, stay in school and don't do drugs. I am a grown man. I looked him right in his face and I was like, thank you, mister. And I just...